The only difference between you and most of the artists that roll through here is we make everybody do weird stuff and talk about weird stuff, but you're the only one that acknowledges out loud, what's all this weird stuff that you guys are making me do and all this? Everybody else just kind of silently goes with it.
You see, the thing about the southern states of America is that everyone is so determined to be incredibly polite and nice all the time. And sometimes I'm just like, here, lads, will you give me a break? Like, we're all just doing this, like, sweet treacle dance around each other and never actually, like, talking. Now, there's a reason that we lose a lot of friends. And the reason we lose a lot of friends is that we can't maintain conversation for more than 10 minutes without actually asking something real or actually being true.
But it's refreshing because most people don't do that around here. You know what I mean?
Well, why do they not? You're from here.
Well, I'm from a little bit further north.
I mean, you're like,
you live here. Like. I think it's just the way that you're raised. It depends on if you're raised in a family where things are not talked about, then you don't even know what to do when someone brings something real into conversation. So a lot of people are like, wait, what is, they get uncomfortable.
It's awkward. But in America,
need to learn.
Like in America, the thing that amazed me is we came here, right? And we came from this culture whereby, we have our own issues, right? But we came here and people would clam up when you would talk about something that was genuine or real or true or whatever, or controversial. But then they would tell you everything about their love life. And I'm like, America, something is wrong when you are willing to talk about the most intimate of things and you can't talk about things that are much less intimate.
The fact that you see into people like that, do you think that's what makes you a really good artist? That you recognize that in people? Even you just saying that right then is something a lot of people, I don't think, even artists would say out loud. Do you think that really helps you? Do you think that you actually know that about yourself?
I think I'm self-aware. I don't always act like that. Like Heidi we were playing a game last night, and the game with the kids was, tell me something that you love about yourself. Heidi asked all the kids and me, and something that you don't love about yourself. She's trying to get to the root of where they're at. And so they're talking about, wee Caleb was so young, and he says, I love my hands, and my feet, and my nose, and my head, and my brain. And I'm like, this is awesome. And I went around the table, and then I got to Heidi, and Heidi goes, do you know what? I really like my shoulders and my collarbone. And in the moment, I was thinking, oh, she's right. She's got really pretty shoulders, And then I said, you've got a collarbone like a turkey breast.
Nope.
And she just looked at me and she's like, what is wrong with you? Could you not say something nice about my collarbone?
Was that a compliment?
And so after that, I was like, oh, I am so sorry. Like, I don't know why I said that. Because I am self-aware, but in those moments, I tend to, the people that I love the most, I tend to be the least self-aware around.
You need a little more put up a show southerner in you when in those moments.
Yes, I do.
You got to have your family filter up.
Yes, I do.
But I mean, that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of beautiful in a way though. Like my dad spoke really bluntly like that too, and still does.
Yeah. And
what happens is you leapfrog over the awkwardness at some point, and that becomes the reason that you just love being around the guy.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
Bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and there's a realness to that, and so. Thing is, after that comment, I went to her and said, Heidi's babe, I'm so sorry. I actually love your collarbone. You're a really beautiful collarbone. And she's like, you don't love my collarbone. I was like, I do love your collarbone.
And you have to get into an argument.
And it's the least important part of your body, but I love your collarbone.
Way to go, Darren.
I was digging holes. But the question about whether it helps us as an artist, for sure, it absolutely does. It is a blessing and a curse, because honestly, people, I've heard this so often about us, we're masters. People love the authenticity that we bring. They know that we're not coming to tell stories that aren't true. They love it, but there's also a point you reach where people shrink back from that because it touches a nerve, Mm-hmm. Everyone wants you to be authentic and honest until it impinges on their sense of self.
Yeah.
And some people respond really beautifully to that and they'll fall apart. I walked into a radio station the other day and there was a woman who I'd never met and she was a host. And I just walked into the room and she just started crying, like just out of the blue.
You're like, I don't know what's going on.
And because she knew that I know I'm able to be with people and know more than what I see.
You can see what's going on.
see
You
what's
can
going
see
on.
through the surface of
Yeah.
whatever she's trying to show you.
But the same thing happens to me. So I was at a show the other night, and we were playing. And there's this wee lady with Darren syndrome in the front row, and she's beautiful. I think she's probably like mid-20s. And I'm singing Point to You, and it's raucous, and the crowd is all in. And she starts blowing kisses at me, and I'm like, oh, what do I do with this? And so the only natural thing for me to do was start blowing kisses back at her. Now if you're in the heavens in this 2,000 seat auditorium and you're looking at the lead singer of We Are Mess and you're blowing kisses at some woman in the audience
And you know he's married.
and you know he's married and he has a history, then you're thinking, this is not good. Anyway, I walked over to the edge of the stage at the end of the song, didn't do anything, and this wee woman comes running towards me, and she reaches up, and so I kneel down, and she grabs my head, and she pulls my head down into her head, and she just starts smothering my face with kisses, like just on it. And I'm like, this is really awkward. And then I just start crying. I'm sitting there crying, this wee woman with Down syndrome's holding my head. And I didn't cry because I had any pity. I had no pity for her. I don't know. She's beautiful. She has so much more intimacy with the Father than I'll ever have. I cried because in that moment, she knew me, and she knew that I didn't deserve to be showered with her affection, and she did it anyway, and she didn't care about the crowd. And so for like 2 or 3 minutes, I'm kneeling there and just been showered by affection from someone that society probably looks at as being a little less than the rest of us.
Yeah.
And all I can think is, God, can you make me like her? You know, because she knew me. Mm-hmm. Isn't it amazing when you're around someone that knows you? Like, even if they don't know you
maybe, but
personally.
it could even be like, takes one to know one. You guys share that sort of maybe ability to, kind of see through somebody. Like, I see what's really going on in there. And that's how you guys didn't need to talk at all, perhaps.
We didn't need to talk once. And I just
like
left.
a silent exchange.
That was it. I put the mic away, and then I got up and we just went after it again.
While we're on this I got to tell this story because I just remember this. While we're on this topic of like authenticity, you are just such like a bizarrely authentic dude. I want to tell you a story. You may not even remember this.
Okay.
So it was we were like doing some hosting duties at one of your shows a couple of months back, right? And you had that set that we were talking about before. Yeah. So he has this great set and that sort of thing. And you're coming off stage, and we have to go on stage, and you're coming off stage, and I spotted you for a second. I hadn't had a chance to greet you before or anything, so we stopped and we had like a little interaction. And I can't remember what I said, but it was probably something like, Great set, man. Good job. Just something really simple and cordial and southern and that sort of thing. And you smacked my hand, you grabbed my arm, and you pulled me in. And you said, "Was it really?" Because da 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 da. And you just kind of laid out all this stuff that was going on, this, that, and the other. And like you say this now, and I frame that story in a different way because it's like you wouldn't even let me get away with a superficial. Nice set, man.
Not allowed.
You're like, no. We're gonna pull in. We're gonna have a mom. I want you to know what's making me tick. I want to know if you really thought it was good and that sort of thing.
And that takes time to like actually take a second and grab someone and try to get to the heart.
Otherwise, I might not have even remembered that interaction. But that's a really interesting.
But that's such a brief, on the surface, meaningless interaction. And for me, nothing is meaningless. There is no moment in your day that doesn't matter. Everything matters. So I went for coffee this morning before I came in. I went to Coffee and Coconuts, I think it is, which is a really girly sounding name for a coffee shop for an Irishman to be going into. And they had like little swinging white chair things.
I've been wanting to go there.
You would love it.
Cute.
I have to say my masculinity was being tested in it. Got my cappuccino anyway in a mug because I don't do paper cups.
There you go.
Right?
Attaboy.
Manly.
That's right. That's right.
Mug thing.
I'm feeling the testosterone in this story.
and I was there, and this guy called Ben, and Ben is the VP of Centricity, and he is the finance guy at Centricity Records. And Ben says, "Hey Darren, how you doing?" And I was, "Hey Ben." And so I just sat and I talked with Ben for like 15, 20 minutes. And so you talk about record labels, right? One of the least glamorous roles in a record label is the finance guy, okay? But I made sure that I gleaned every bit of wisdom and every bit of knowledge I could in 10 or 15 minutes off of Ben, because I actually value what he does. And if you find that every person you run across, that there is an inherent value to everything they do, that they really genuinely do matter, that they're not just the finance guy, they're not just the one behind the camera, they're not just the one taking out the trash at a show, and you're like, oh, they're Jesus. Like they're Jesus walking around me, and I'm too busy stuck on this thing on my phone, or I'm too busy thinking about what I'm going to do next, or I'm too busy looking over your shoulder, or I'm too busy waiting for my turn to talk.
Yeah. Then
I miss it. But when you walk by, and I remember that moment.
Do you?
Yes, I do. And I don't often remember moments because I couldn't even remember the pledge you just told me we said. But I remember that because I remember thinking, dude, CJ is kind, but he don't need to be kind all the time. He needs to be honest.
That nails.
Reading his mail.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
Miss Cleo, is that you? That's in there, man. You just got in there.
That's so scary.
That's good.
It's okay if I'm not okay.